Hey there, I'm Miska, and welcome to HitScan. Hero bans are now live on the main client. We had them tested briefly on the PTR, and then they weren't there anymore. And yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff to talk about regarding them because, well, some surprises and some very predictable issues that we want to bring up. So yeah, Ryan, get into it. Let's talk about this.
Who's going to be banned this week? I assume it's going to be on a weekly period because they haven't announced that strictly just yet. But the heroes are Orisa for the tanks, Hanzo and Mei for the DPS. So Rejoice Mei is no longer in rotation. And then Baptiste. We not only have that, but we of course have the new map pool for the start of season 21. I think, yeah, season 21. Man, I remember like season 3. But
Yeah.
for the two CP maps, we've Hanamura, Volskaya, who were both in the previous one. But Horizon's come back. Hooray, because people are actually missing maps like Horizon and Paris. I've seen a lot of people tweet that they don't really like the map pool. I'm actually curious in the comments below, like, do you like the 12 map pool, or do you prefer all of them, including Paris, be available? But we haven't played Paris in like half a year, which I'm thankful about. Watchpoint, Dorado, and Junkertown are the pure payload maps. Kings Row, Hollywood, and Blizzard World are the hybrids. And in Control, we have Lijiang, Oasis, and Busan, which I'm pretty sure were very similar to what they were beforehand. So not major changes. Some of the favorite maps are still in there. But of course, the main focus is on the heroes that were banned. Also, as a caveat, the balance changes that are on the PTR with a nerf to Diva and a nerf to Mei are not in at the moment, as far as we can tell at least. So
yeah,
keep an eye out for that.
I don't think any of that stuff is in. And also the demo viewer or replay viewer, the way to share replay codes and all that, that's not in either, it seems. So I think we got another PTR patch cycle for that stuff to come into
the stuff
life.
On the PTR is basically still just on the PTR. So we wanted to quickly sort of add who you should be playing, but to be honest, with the heroes that are banned, barring Mei, I suppose for the pro players, they're not that, super strong in the sense that they're oppressive. So if you're playing heroes like Reinhardt, for example, if we start looking at like hero pick rates, which we are going to in a second, you still can. Right, Miska?
Yeah, so Reinhardt still seems very strong, and overall these hero bans are just kind of underwhelming, as a result of just both these being different from the ones in Overwatch League, so there won't really be like one just meta that everyone can kind of follow, which maybe that's good, maybe that's not good. I'm not sure. It might be a bit easier to understand what to play based on what pros are playing and picking up, but at the same time, ranked is very different from esports level, Overwatch League level competitive play. But as you can see, looking at this week overbuff across all ranks on PC, we can see that Reinhardt, Ana, Moira, Zarya, McCree, all these top heroes, they're not banned, so that's not really going to change too much. I think Mei and Baptiste are really create that bunker, not necessarily with Orisa anymore, but still makes it difficult for someone like Winston to dive in. So that's cool to have those sort of possibilities and opportunities in there. I just don't think that this is really, I guess, only leaning in that direction. There's a lot more to really bring into the conversation. I think the Overwatch League aspect of this as well is actually really interesting too.
Definitely. I think the biggest stat is none of the top heroes based on popularity in competitive have been banned. So I think when you look at, if you're a Baptiste player, which is what I am, so this makes sense, who should I be playing instead? Well, Ana, because Ana, by popularity, by what the pros are playing, and just generally with how the meta looks, is the better option. So if you're not playing Baptiste, or if you're not playing Ana already, then you definitely should be. Mei's an interesting one, because if you start looking at what the pros are playing, she is like the queen hero right now, to the point that people are complaining about her. But when you look at competitive and the games that we play, you don't see an awful lot of her. Maybe that's just because like pros are like abstaining from playing her in competitive. They're just like, I don't want to deal with it here. I don't have to. So
yeah.
That's sort of a good thing. But the oppressiveness level of Mei in our competitive games isn't nearly as much as the pro scene. But I've already seen people like Reinforce clap back at Blizzard for having a separate hero ban from what the pros are doing to what competitive is. So it must suck for a pro, for example. Widowmaker and McCree are banned over there, so you want to play a bit more Hanzo as an option, you can't in competitive. Or you want to practice your Mei because Mei isn't banned in the pro scene, you can't do that in competitive either. So that must suck for a pro player, that you have to deal with all of these spinning plates. And maybe it'll make them the same in the future. I don't know.
I think regardless of looking at at it from a pro player perspective or not, I think the bridge between Overwatch League and people playing ranked, that's always been hard for Blizzard to manage, and I don't think this actually really helps. I feel like they brought in the hero bans partially like on both those sort of platforms, like both in the game and in the league, to try to unite the format a little bit. But I don't feel like this has really done it when you do it like this. Because, well, I was surprised about the Overwatch League bans to begin with. We didn't really make a video talking about that, but I was surprised the way they were picked and kind of like which ones we ended up with. And now I'm also surprised about the actual bans in game as well. So yeah, I'm not sure really if Blizzard are going to change this sooner rather than later due to some reaction. I don't know really if they actually ever settled on how often they would. But if it's weekly, then I guess we're gonna see some interesting stuff happening next week, because this week, well, if you're playing Winston, I guess you can dive a little bit more into the backline, but I don't really see things changing too much.
Right. It's kind of like if these were the hero bans a couple of months ago when Orisa was really meta, Baptiste was really meta, then that would have been great. But it's just a couple of months too late. And it's just, if you can't really play bunker, so 2 CP maps might struggle a bit more. But like I said, people that were playing Orisa are now playing Reinhardt now anyway, so it doesn't really matter to them. It just doubles down on those really meta options, which currently are Reinhardt and McCree, which I'm thankful that he wasn't banned, to be honest. Diva's still really good. May's really the only option that was super strong that's been taken out. But from what pro players tend to do, they tend to just supplement those heroes for somebody else that's similar. For example, Reaper and Doomfist, right? So I don't think we're going to see a situation that whilst bunker heroes have been banned, we're going to see dive come back in a big way. Of course, people might see that and go, oh, we should play more dive. But what tends to happen at higher tiers is, oh, May's banned, we're going to replace it with a hero that's very similar instead of somebody that's completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's just my take on it, at least. Like, I hope that dive becomes a lot more stronger, and no doubt heroes like Winston's pick rate will go up. But Reaper's still in the game, so people that play May are just going to switch over to playing Reaper because they're pretty similar in their effective range and how they play, and how they're tank busters.
To wrap it up a little bit, I think as well it's important to highlight like your everyday ranked game in, let's say, like plat or diamond or even gold, like that all those sort of levels are not gonna be too affected by a strict meta anyway. But when you just look at those individually and the pick rates there, then yeah, it's gonna be nice to not have to deal with a Mei. And yeah, some people might be really annoyed at a Hanzo occasionally, but I don't think this is what's gonna really, revitalize ranked and make it feel like a completely different experience. And just because some other things are banned next week might not make it better, because maybe this week people are like, oh, it was really nice to not deal with Mei for a week, and then when she's back next week it might just make it worse, right? Because people are gonna use the Mei being gone. So
it's kind of like whiplash, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I'm very torn on this, but I'm interested in seeing how it will play out, and also what the comments of this video and just on what talk on Twitter and such will be like, because I think that's going to influence Blizzard quite a lot. So yeah, be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. I love the idea of this system, to be fair. I think sometimes that people think that we just hate it. I'm really excited to actually play some Overwatch and see what this is like, to see if things are freshened up a little bit. I think it's an interesting take on the ban system. And Blizzard themselves said they're not too sure on this either. This is still something that they're playing with. So, like, any feedback, I suppose, is good, but at least give it a go before you start, having a go at the system not being good enough. It may be great just on the face of it, especially with these heroes that were banned. It's not as impactful as people may have been hoping, but that might be because Blizzard just want to ease it in slowly with banning heroes like Baptiste and Orisa, which aren't as good. Then next week, that's where they go for like Reinhardt and Lucio and all that stuff. That's where they go really for the jugular of what the, in inverted commas, meta is currently. So I wouldn't worry about it if this is still not up to par of what people's expectations are.
Yeah, that's basically all for this time, though. Thank you very much for watching. I don't have anything else to add.
Nope, we still love Overwatch. We've done a lot of Valorant videos at the moment, but we're not completely quitting the game. You should be able to tell which videos are Valorant focused and which ones are Overwatch because of the yellow and red. I know we went for green before, but then we saw the color scheme of what Valorant were and decided to sort of lean up to that. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of Valorant stuff, but Overwatch might still be stuff happening this month too. So who knows? We may get a hero next week. Who knows at this point?
Yeah, it's Blizzard. We never know with Blizzard. All right, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Wash your hands. Wash your hands.
Oh,
Bye.
Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Remember.